Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first ever redraft show of the year here at the Six Hockey Podcast Network. I'm your host and commissioner, Elias Strakos, joined alongside Simon Hendricks and Dylan Gramont. We are all sport media students attending Toronto Metropolitan University. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, Elias. How are you?
I'm doing good.
We're doing great, Elias. We're ready to get started.
Okay, let's get into it. But before we do that, let's describe what the Six Hockey is all about. We are essentially a podcasting and broadcasting company. We discuss everything GTHL, and we also have run some GTHL level hockey tournaments in the past. So the redraft show, which is what we are doing today, will run every Wednesday, along with our player interview and video feature on Monday, and our highlight show and quiz running every Friday. So the way this will work is that I will give you two a year. Today we're doing the year 2012. We're going to go all the way back to the year 2000 throughout the weeks, and I'll give the original pick, and you two will essentially redraft based on your expertise, and you'll have 14 picks, so 7 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, it's time to take a trip down memory lane and head back to the year 2012, the year with the NHL lockout, which canceled hundreds of games, including the All-Star game. It was also the year to blast some Carly Rae Jepsen or Maroon 5.
Also the year of the London Olympics.
Yes, the London Olympics as well.
Skyfall came out. Adele was also blasting. Good year, 2012.
Yeah, it was.
I can't really remember it, but I feel like it was a good year.
Yes, it
Seems
was.
like a good year.
Yeah,
Seemed
it
like
just
a good
seems
year.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with this OHL draft we got going, huh, guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
So before we begin, let's discuss who will be available essentially for you guys to take. So these are the top 20 NHL games played by players who played in the OHL, excluding Dylan Larkin, Alex Tuck, Kyle Connor, and Nick Schmaltz because they did not play in the OHL. So the list reads as follows. Connor McDavid's at number 1, Sam Bennett, Jared McCann, Vince Dunn, Christian Dvorak at number 5, Nick Paul, Robbie Fabry, Michael Amadio, Mark Jankowski, Travis Dermott, Sonny Milano, Brendan Lemieux, Jake Evans, Brendan Perlini, Jacob Middleton, Steven Lorentz, Mackenzie Blackwood, Alex Nedeljkovic, Michael Delcole, and finally Darren Radish. So with pick number 1, the Erie Otters had that pick in 2012, and they selected Connor McDavid. Phenomenal player. Not too much to say about him. Pick number 1 goes to you, Simon. Go ahead.
Well, I think that this is a fairly obvious pick.
Alex Nedeljkovic, right?
Yes. You read my mind, Dylan.
Yeah. But that's what you get for working with each other for so
Yeah,
long.
exactly.
Yeah.
Big Ned, solid goalie.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I think it would be a bit of a joke if we did not pick Connor McDavid number 1, one of the best OHL players of all time, one of the best NHL players of all time, perhaps. Some would say the greatest player to ever play the game of hockey.
One of the best GTHL players of all time,
That's true. Toronto Marlboros, shout out.
Yeah.
So yes, I will be going with Connor McDavid. First overall. History will be repeating itself for now, and Connor McDavid is my first overall pick.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, with pick number 2, the Kingston Frontenacs selected Roland McEwen. Started out great in the OHL, didn't play much in the NHL. He played 3 seasons with Kingston. Best season was in 2013-2014, where he had 43 points in 62 games. And Dylan, you have the second overall pick.
With the second overall pick in the 2012 priority selection redraft, the Kingston Frontenacs are proud to select forward Jared McCann. Jared McCann, tremendous goal scorer throughout all levels of hockey, in the NHL and the OHL as well. In the NHL with Seattle, he had 40 goals 2 years ago. He's been successful in stints in Vancouver, Florida, Pittsburgh, and now Seattle. He was almost a Leaf, but we're not going to get into that. Sorry, we're Leaf fans, the two of us, so I'm not going to. Nope. And then he was also very successful in Sault Ste. Marie with the Greyhounds. He's been a really solid NHL player. I think in an ideal world, he's probably on your second line.
Yeah,
But
I would agree.
I would say, but with a 40-goal season under his belt, I think I had to go with him because I think that's a remarkable accomplishment because goal scoring is as valuable as it gets in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie, I like Jared McCann, like you said, former Leaf for a hot cup of coffee. But I think his 40-goal year was a little bit of an outlier. It's kind of like the tie into some baseball here, kind of like Vladdy, had a really great year where he put up an unreal year and then kind of tapered off. I don't think we'll see Jared McCann scoring 40 goals again in his career.
Probably true. It could happen.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a decent pick. I think there's.
But I mean, he's been kind of close to it his other seasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so I don't
fair.
think it's like.
That's fair.
I don't think you can just say he's like a bum or anything. So I think it's.
That's true. That's true.
Anyone I'm picking after you pick McDavid is going to be a letdown. So
Yeah.
I did the best I could, I think, with Jared McCann.
That's fair.
Okay, so with pick number 3, the Peterborough Petes selected Eric Cornell. Never made it to the NHL, unfortunately. He bounced around between the OHL, the AHL, the Deutsche Eishockey Liga in Germany for the last 4 years, and his best OHL season was in 2015-2016, where he had 83 points in 68 games with the Petes. Simon, you have pick number 3.
Well, with pick number 3, I think I might stick with the Seattle Kraken theme and select offensive defenseman Vince Dunn. Again, pretty decent guy. I think him and Jared McCann are on the same level, kind of skill-wise. They fit a role. I mean, same team, obviously.
Both ideally not on your first line. Or
yeah,
first pair.
exactly. Like kind of top 4, top 3 defensemen on a Stanley Cup contending team. Had a great OHL career as well. And yeah, I just think a solid player, and I think if you're looking from like a raw talent perspective, Vince Dunn's probably the best guy remaining on this list. So Vince Dunn is my 3rd overall pick.
I like the pick. I was actually going to take him with my next pick if you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well, the next pick went to the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and they selected Jared McCann, drafted 24th overall in 2014 by the Canucks. Dylan, you have pick number 4.
With the 4th overall pick, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in the 2012 priority selection redraft are proud to select forward Sam Bennett.
Oh, what a pick.
Thank you.
What a pick.
Yeah. I thought you may have won.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm a
big
big Sam Bennett fan.
As we know, you want him on
Yes,
the Leafs
yes.
per your cap-friendly team, which is
even.
which is a conversation we've had in the office
My
here.
cap-friendly game is unmatched.
I think this guy, anyways, Sam Bennett, a tremendous forward in Florida on their cup run this year and last year and their playoff run the year before that. He was successful in Calgary while they were making some runs, and he was tremendous in Kingston as a forward, and adds an element of physicality, which is something I think is really important in today's day and age, and sometimes some guys lack, but he definitely provides that presence.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I love Sam Bennett just for his style alone.
Oh, mustache,
The
too,
beard,
yeah.
the mustache, the everything.
Yeah.
Plus, I just think he's a great player. Adds
So-
a great kind of what you want. Like if I'm thinking of like a guy I want on my team to add some physicality, talent, and
Perfect
playoff success,
style player.
Sam Bennett's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, with pick number 5, the Windsor Spitfires selected Josh Hosang, played for the New York Islanders from 2016 to 2019. Also bounced back and forth in the AHL, the SWE-HL, which is in Sweden, the KHL in Russia, and this year he's playing for the Florida Everblades, little ECHL mentioned in there. Simon, you have the 5th overall pick.
Well, next up is a player who I think's had a pretty interesting NHL career so far. I think talent-wise, probably on the same level as Sam Bennett. I'm going with another centerman/winger, Christian Dvorak. He is currently on the Canadiens, had an unreal kind of stint with the London Knights on perhaps one of the greatest OHL lines in history as he
Helps playing
centered.
with Marner and Kachuk.
Exactly. He centered Mitch Marner and Matthew Tkachuk when they were all on the London Knights, and they won the Memorial Cup together. So you also have to take that into account here. Again, he's been pretty injured throughout his NHL career so far. I don't think he's played a full 82-game season throughout his 6 or 7 year career by now. But I still think he does have quite a lot of talent. I think he is in a good fit in the Montreal organization, the Montreal Canadiens, that is. So yeah, I will be picking Christian Dvorak with my 5th overall.
Yeah, and I
pick.
just want to add on to your pick there with Dvorak. I think people are going to look at it and be like, "Why did you take him there?" It's based on his NHL career because it's been a little disappointing. But when you take a look at his OHL career and his success with the London Knights, you have to balance that out when we're doing an OHL redraft, right? So I think that's the kind of the rationale behind that.
Exactly.
So I don't think you should get on Simon too hard in the comments for that one.
Yeah, maybe not. Who knows?
Please do. No, I'm kidding. Pick number 6, the Guelph Storm selected Robbie Fabry. He played with the Blues for 1 year in the AHL, returned He played for the Blues, rather. He played 1 year in the AHL, returned back to the Blues, and then he went to the Red Wings, and he's been there for the last 5 seasons. Dylan, you have pick number 6.
With the 6th overall pick in the 2012 priority selection redraft, the Guelph Storm are proud to select forward Nick Paul. Nick Paul, tremendous contributor all throughout his career in the OHL and the NHL, with his success with Tampa he's had when they've made some playoff runs. He's really coming into his own, I think, picking up his game. I think his game has just gotten better as his career's gone on. Now that he's with Tampa on a successful team, you can see him playing the role he was meant to play as a middle six winger, adding some size and physicality on a successful competitive team. I don't think he shines exactly in where he was in Ottawa, where they weren't particularly good. And he was really successful in his OHL career during his playoff run. He was averaging a point per game there. And Nick Paul, probably not the most it's probably not the pick that stands out to you the most, jumps out to you, but I think with his tremendous playoff success, I think it's the obvious pick there with his size and physicality that he adds, kind of similar to Sam Bennett, like I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah, it's a decent pick. I like Nick Paul.
Thank you.
I like him. I met him at a wedding.
Yeah.
At Connor Brown's wedding, I was a bartender for it, and I would say he was one of the more enamored people there. So yeah.
Nick Paul, Mississauga Senators alum. So shout out GTHL.
Right. Can I show off
That's
here,
right.
Simon? With the
I mean, you know,
story time with Simon.
I got some
That's
stories.
fair,
I
yeah.
got some fun stories, but we'll get
Now,
into some.
is
of
that
those
a weekly
later.
segment on the pod?
I
Story
don't
time with
know.
Simon?
I don't know.
I
That
don't
was
know.
a very abbreviated version. If you want the longer one, oh no, maybe get a drink.
You can contact him.
Maybe
Let
yeah.
us
I was
know- let
gonna
us know
say
first.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's move on to the 7th overall pick that went to the Oshawa Generals back then, and they selected Michael Del Cole. Played 5 seasons in the OHL, 4 with Oshawa, 1 with Kingston. Simon, you have pick number 7.
This might be a little bit off the board, but I will be going with a goalie this round.
Oh, wow.
Yep, we're going a bit off. This man had a very good career with the, he was also in the GTHL with the Thunder Bay Kings, U16 AAA team.
Nice.
I am going with Mackenzie Blackwood. Played 3 years with the Barrie Colts. In his last season, he posted a 28-win season with a 921 save percentage. And I think if you look at it from a raw talent perspective, he is quite clearly, again, he's got a lot of talent. As he was coming into the league, you could see that he had a lot of potential. Didn't quite reach that potential in the NHL, but still put up a respectable season on the worst team in the league this past year with the Sharks. Had a couple seasons where he had a save percentage over 915 with the Devils. So again, the talent was there, but unfortunately either his teams around him weren't really able to kind of help him as much as you would like. But because he had a good stint with Barrie Colts in the OHL and still has some, I think, untapped potential, even though he still is getting a bit
Maybe
older.
if we saw him on a good team.
Yeah, with an actual good defensive core around him.
To me, I think in this draft, I would, because I think there's 2 clear goalie choices. I don't know if there's many more than that. I would lean Nedeljkovic because I've seen the success on better teams versus Blackwood, who has the potential to be better, perhaps.
Right.
But he's been on some bad teams, and I haven't seen the success yet.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we had
A little ad there.
a little ad, yeah.
Jeez.
Unwanted ad.
An
in the,
unwanted ad, yeah. Jeez.
Okay, well, that's actually a pretty good segue since we're going to an ad break in just a second. But let's recap the first 7 picks here that you two have drafted. So we have Connor McDavid at number 1, Jared McCann, Vince Dunn, Sam Bennett, Christian Dvorak, Nick Paul, and then finally you picked Mackenzie Blackwood. We're going to go to a quick advertisement break. Don't go anywhere, as we will have the other 7 picks when we come back.
Luke Bovalettis and the Nationals face off against Pierce Bowie and the Marlboros in an all-Toronto matchup at Westwood Arena. Catch the action on the 6 Hockey YouTube channel.
We are back with pick number 8, and that went to the Owen Sound Attack. Back then, the actual pick was Jacob Middleton. He played his first season in the OHL with the Owen Sound Attack, and he played his other 4 with the Ottawa 67s, a very good defensive defenseman. Dylan, you have pick number 8.
With the 8th overall pick, the Owen Sound Attack, who may have the best logo and team name in the OHL, are proud to select in the 2012 priority selection redraft forward Michael Amadio. Michael Amadio, took a little bit to stick, I think, as a full-time NHLer. But once he did, now he's played over 360 NHL games. Stanley Cup champion, too, Michael Amadio.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe not the greatest offensive contributor in terms of his NHL production, but in the OHL he was successful.
He's played over 350 NHL games.
Exactly. So I think even then, even as a fourth liner or a third liner, whatever you classify him as, I think it's still a successful career. And at this point in the draft, there's two ways to go. I think it's either role player or it's successful OHL player.
Yeah.
And I think Amadio was a relatively successful OHL player, and he's been a successful NHL player in his role. So that's why I decided to go with him.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good pick.
I think I like that pick.
Thank you.
Leafs legend. Played
Simon
3 whole
don't even.
games with the Leafs.
Simon, don't even. I remember watching him on the Leafs. I thought he was useless. But
Well, he is a Stanley Cup champion.
he's
Let's move on.
gone
from
on
Michael.
quite
Let's move
Let's
on
go to
from
pick
Michael.
number 9.
Yeah, you
and
got me into a Leafs rabbit hole.
Save
so
the
it's not gonna be good.
negativity. You know, it's only positive vibes in here, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah, don't get me in a Leafs rabbit hole then.
Yes. The Kingston Frontenacs had pick number 9. They selected Sam Bennett. 3 seasons with Kingston. His best year was in 2013-2014. 91 points in 57 games. 118 penalty minutes. Very physical player right here. Simon, you have pick number 9.
Well, since we already drafted Sam Bennett, I don't think I'm able to pick him.
Nope.
As much as I would like to.
Yes, you are not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. However, I'm going to go with someone who perhaps had a better junior career than Sam Bennett. I'm going with Robbie Fabry, another Stanley Cup champion with the Blues in 2019. Also, shout out to the GTHL, a former Mississauga Rebel, where he posted 134. I have his stats page right here. I don't have these memorized, but he had 134 points in 75 games on the U15 AAA team, where he captained that team. Moved on to the Guelph Storm, where he had a very successful OHL career, posting over a point per game. In fact, he almost had 2 points per game in his final year with the Storm. Was really great, posting 6 points in 5 games at the what year would that be? 2015, 2016 Canadian World Juniors team. And like I said, Stanley Cup champion. He
was a contributor for that Blues team.
Yeah. He was a pretty decent guy. I mean, he wasn't. Again, I don't think he's the guy who is going to light up the scoreboard. I think when you look at Robbie Fabry, you're looking at someone who's a bottom 6 forward who might get you half a point per game.
Could occasionally
on the
play in your top 6 if need be.
Maybe, yeah.
Like in a pinch.
Maybe in a pinch. But still, solid player. He's got a great NHL career moving forward. A big piece of what Detroit is trying to build down there. So yeah, Robbie Fabry is my pick.
Yeah, I like that pick, Simon.
Thank you.
It is, yeah, definitely a good pick. I have to agree. Pick number 10, the Belleville Bulls selected Nicky Petty from Welland, Ontario native. 5 seasons in the OHL, 3 with Belleville and 2 with Hamilton. Never made it to the NHL, unfortunately. His best OHL season was in 2016-2017, where he had 49 points in 51 games. Dylan, you have the 10th pick.
With the 10th overall pick, the Belleville Bulls are proud to select forward Josh Hosang. Now, I know you're going to say Josh Hosang wasn't his NHL career a little bit disappointing, perhaps, but
yes,
he was a really successful OHL player. He was tremendously successful in the GTHL with the Marlboros when he played with McDavid.
Yeah, that's right.
And he also was a Team Canada Olympian, right?
Yeah,
that's the only guy on the list to have that claim to their name.
That's right.
And he just recently, you mentioned he played for the Florida Everblades earlier. He just won the ECHL, the Kelly Cup in the ECHL with them. So I think Hosang has been maybe a little bit disappointing in the NHL. The whole controversy with him wearing 66. I'm not going to get into that. That was whatever. But
weird.
It was, yeah. But he was successful in other stages, and he's immensely talented, as we've seen in multiple stops throughout his career. Maybe just the NHL wasn't
for him.
Yeah.
Again, I think actually I'll save my what I was going to say for my next pick, because I feel like we can
similar train of thought
here. Yeah. So yeah, let's move on.
Okay, well with that, pick number 11 went to the Mississauga Steelheads, and they picked Damian Bourne. Played 5 seasons with the Steelheads, and he even played a year at Queen's University. Shout out!
There you go.
So Simon, you can now say what you want to say at pick number
can I?
11.
Do I have your permission?
Yes.
To say what I want to say?
Do you need the host and commissioner's permission? I mean,
no.
I don't know. I don't know. Someone's on a power trip, it seems like. With the 11th overall pick, I'll be going with a player very similar to Josh Hosang. I will go with also former Islander Michael Del Cole. Michael Del Cole, again, what I want to say was there is I think I don't think people realize just how difficult it is to go from, you're the number 1 or number 2 guy in a junior team in your OHL career. Michael Del Cole being a really great OHL player for the Oshawa Generals, where I think he spent almost 4 seasons there and put up almost 100 points a season with them for a while. So you go into that role, get drafted, and then you're slotted into like a 4th line position where you're getting 10 minutes a night.
Adjustment for sure.
Again, Michael Del Cole, a very skillful player, going into a system where defense and kind of wasn't necessarily his exact style of play. I think that you can say a similar thing for Josh Hosang as well.
Maybe in a different environment they could have succeeded.
Yeah,
in the
exactly. No shade to Islanders system or anything like that, but
they've proven it's successful. It's
Yeah.
just maybe not for
those players.
Yeah.
Exactly. Also, a little tidbit here. I was very disappointed in the 2014 NHL draft when Del Cole was selected by the Islanders because I really wanted the Leafs to pick him, where instead they drafted Nylander.
Yeah.
And I was quite upset that they did not trade up for Michael Del Cole.
I had the same feeling when the Leafs took Marner over Hannafin. I remember that.
Yeah, but what do I know? Anyway, with the 11th overall pick, I'll be going with Michael Del Cole, who had a sneaky good OHL career with the Oshawa Generals.
Okay, with pick number 12, the Saginaw Spirit selected Jeremiah Addison. Played 5 seasons in the OHL. He was drafted in 2015 by my Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, God.
Had to kind of throw that in.
Yeah,
You guys
he's
are
a
talking
Habs
about
fan,
the
yeah.
Leafs a
Guys,
little
let's
too
not.
much. So he never made it to play with the team, though, unfortunately. Played with Laval for a year. He also played for Ryerson University for a year. Now TMU, which is, of course, where we go to school.
Roll bold.
Roll bold.
So, Dylan,
Yeah.
are you taking Jeremiah Addison at number 12?
So I watched some of his tape from when he was at Ryerson, now
Sure you
TMU.
did.
I did some prep for this. Believe me, unlike my other drafter here, I did some prep.
Sure.
Totally.
With the 12th overall pick, though, the Saginaw Spirit are proud to select forward in the 2012 priority selection redraft. The Saginaw Spirit are proud to select Sonny Milano. Immensely skilled forward. If you looked at just his highlight tape, his highlight reel, you'd think if you just only watch that, you'd think he's one of like the 5 best players in the NHL. He's got some unreal highlights. I think he's tremendously talented, and he had a tremendous season in Plymouth while he was there in the OHL, and he had a really good World Juniors with Team USA as well.
Yeah, he did.
And plus,
That's
he's a part of one of the coolest goals of all time with him and Zegras on the
true.
Michigan. So, and his NHL career was successful. He's been productive in.
He's with the Cap. Capitals made the playoffs this year.
He was on the
right?
team when Capitals made the playoffs, and he was successful in Anaheim production-wise. And his stint in Plymouth was also really points-wise productive. And so he's a middle 6, maybe bottom 6 now, skilled forward who can add a little bit of offensive production to your team.
And a lot of style.
Oh,
a lot of
absolutely.
style points.
Absolutely.
Style
Sonny
points
Milano.
count, yeah.
Plus one of the coolest names in the NHL, Sonny Milano.
There you go.
Yeah. Great pick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm big on style points.
Mm-hmm.
With pick number 13, the Sarnia Sting selected Brett Hargrave. Hargrave played in parts of 5 OHL seasons with Sarnia, Owen Sound, and North Bay, and he also attended and played at Nipissing University. Another OUA shoutout. That's 3 in a row now.
Look at that.
Hat trick of
Wow.
OUA shoutouts. And Simon, you have pick number 13.
It's my final pick, so I feel like I really have to go with the bang here.
Swing for the fences on this one, Simon.
Yeah, exactly. Swinging for fences, maybe do a little spin move, and picking Travis Dermott.
Oh, that was good. I didn't even catch that. That was good. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's good, Simon.
I will
that.
be drafting Travis Dermott with the 13th overall pick. A serviceable NHL defenseman for the Leafs and Canucks. Not going to get into how his Leafs career ended. However,
Let's not. Please don't.
Yep, let's not. However, he was on the Erie Otters team with McDavid, Strome, and DeBrincat. Was probably, I would say, the number 1 defenseman on that team.
He's the power play defenseman.
Yeah, exactly. Quarterback their power play. Again, serviceable NHL guy. I think kind of like we were saying at this point in the draft, we're kind of more looking for the role guys who had pretty decent OHL careers, and I think Travis Dermott
adds some offensive value.
I think Travis Dermott fits that mold quite well. Yeah. So with the 13th overall pick, I will be going with Travis Dermott.
Okay, that's a solid pick right there. Definitely, I guess, a bit of a curveball.
Yeah.
But good
Yeah,
pick. Good pick.
thank
I like
you.
it. With the final pick now, pick number 14. I can't believe we're already at the final pick. The Sudbury Wolves selected Connor Cummins. Connor Cummins played in 4 OHL seasons with Sudbury after being drafted 14th overall. Cummins was a stay-at-home defenseman, and he used his size, 6'3", 205 pounds. So, Dylan, you have pick number 14.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned stay-at-home defenseman. That's kind of where I'm going with this pick. With the 14th overall pick, in the 2012 priority selection redraft, the Sudbury Wolves are proud to select defenseman Jacob Middleton. So you mentioned Jacob Middleton a little earlier when you were talking about him when he initially went in the first round in this OHL draft. He's the quintessential stay-at-home defenseman. He's a defensive defenseman, adds some size and physicality, and you've seen some glimpses of offensive production this past season with a career high with 25 points in 80 games. Maybe he's not exactly an offensive force, but adds some defense to your team and adds some physicality as well. So, and he's played over 200 NHL games, which is nothing to sneeze at when you take this in.
Yeah, 200 more NHL games than a lot of
239 to be exact.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
there you go.
Exactly.
So we've got some honorable mentions now, Simon. Why don't you take us away with that?
Yeah, so I think Elias kind of glazed over this in the beginning, but Dylan Larkin, Nick Schmaltz, Alex Tuck, and who's the last guy? Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor. They were all selected in this draft, in this OHL prior to selection. However, they did not play a single game in the OHL as they opted to go the college route.
And there's just 2 more guys I want to give an honorable mention to.
Yeah, please.
That if we went, I think 2 more picks probably would have been our next 2 picks. Steven Lorenz and Alex Nedeljkovic.
Yes, that's a good shout too. But the 4 guys I was mentioning, we just thought it would be unfair to draft them as they didn't actually play in the OHL, and this is obviously an OHL redraft. So maybe in a different universe, if we were able to convince them to play in the OHL, they would definitely be drafted, as I'm pretty sure Dylan Larkin is a better player than Travis Dermott. However, I think yeah, it's a bit of a hot take. But yeah, we just wanted to say that just to give them some credit.
Yeah, as we come to a close here, why don't we take a look at all the picks again, just to kind of go over what you guys have selected. So first overall, we had Connor McDavid. Second, we had Jared McCann. Then Vince Dunn, Sam Bennett, Christian Dvorak, Nick Paul, Mackenzie Blackwood, Michael Amadio, Robbie Fabry, Josh Hosang, Michael Dalcole, Sonny Milano, Travis Dermott, and then finally Jacob Middleton. Don't forget, by the way, to vote for who had the better redraft, Dylan or Simon. And if you don't know, you can vote team host, because why
Team
not?
host. I'm on team host.
There you go. I like that.
I'm on
I like
Team
that.
Dylan. I don't care.
You're on Team Dylan. Okay.
What a
Is there anything
narcissist.
that stands out to you guys here about your picks?
The pick of Connor McDavid.
I was
stands out
just
to me.
gonna say I think McDavid was a great pick.
Took a lot of guts to make that pick. I think.
Yes, as well. I would agree. I also really love the pick of Travis Dermott. I don't know what it is.
And I'm just looking back at our picks now. I think we kind of mirrored each other a bit when we went with our picks.
a little bit.
I think when we went back to back with Hosang and Dalcole, and then back to back with Dermott and Middleton, like kind of like similar thought process.
He just copies me.
Same with Amadio and Fabry. I think we kind of mirrored each other a bit, and then the only glaring difference would be McCann and McDavid. But
Who's the better player?
He had the first pick. There's nothing I can do
Who's
about
the
that.
better player, McCann or McDavid? Let us know.
So I just
I
found it
don't really
interesting
know.
how we kind of thought along the same lines a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, don't forget to join us next week on our next redraft show, which we will be diving into the year 2011. And on Friday, we will have our first ever highlight show, so that's also something that you don't want to miss. I think it's going to be a good episode as well. And from everyone here, thanks for watching. We have Dylan Gourmand, Simon Hendricks, Jordan Jacqueline, producer, audio technician, Jacob Moore, and myself, Elias Strakos, your host and commissioner. We thank you so much for watching, and take care.